Rock and Roll Geek Show 1127.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA. Online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Saturday, May 14th, 2022, and it is 6:03 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. As of last week, I would have been planning on being at a place called the Retro Junkie at this time on a Saturday night, May 14th, 2022. The Butlers had a gig scheduled at, let me check my volume here. I'm maybe too loud, maybe not loud enough. Let me know, friends. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Normally, I would have been at a place called the Retro Junkie with the Butlers tonight in Walnut Creek, California. But the dreaded Corova hit the band once again. And we are forced to cancel the show. So, I don't know what I'd rather be doing. I mean, I love playing on stage with the Butlers, and I love playing at Retro Junkie because it's always a fun time. And there were a lot of people going to be going there. I mean, they were expecting a sellout. Last time we played there, it was sold out. I was looking forward to it. Practiced on Monday. Everything was fine, and I could have jinxed it because before we left, I said, now remember, nobody get tested before Friday so that we can play this gig, or before Saturday so we can play this gig. Well, practice came Wednesday night, and somebody got sick and went and got tested. So here we are. I wish that I'm not going to say the person's name who got sick and tested, but I love that person very much, and I hope you get well soon, friend, so that we can play. Well, first of all, so your health can be back to normal, but so that the Butlers can play next week at the Club Fox in San Carlos, California, which hopefully will be crowded. We're playing with a Black Crowes tribute band. I don't know anything about the band other than the guitar player is in this other tribute band called Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, who are the best tribute band in California. They're a ZZ Top tribute band, and that guy's great. So it'll probably be a great Black Crowes tribute, although I'm not a Black Crowes fan. Anyway, so no Butler's show tonight. So I figured, well, I might as well crank up the computer, turn on the Tascam Mixcast 4, and do a Saturday night train wreck for the Friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I hope you are glad to hear that, friends. If you're not, I'm sorry to hear that. I need a sip of this fine Modelo very badly. This is the second beer of the day. I drink it to everybody who's tuning in on this Saturday night, friends. Let's start off with a song, shall we? I didn't know this album was actually out. Band De Piratas. Debut album by Jeff Johnson from Jason and the Scorchers. I don't know who he is, but I guess he was a bass player from the Jason Scorchers. Yeah, because it's not the drummer, is it? Warner Hodges from Jason and the Scorchers and Dan Baird and Homemade Sin, one of the greatest guitar players alive. And Jonathan Bright from a band called Raylan Nelson Band. One of the songs on this album features Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick. I'm not going to play that song. I thought somebody may have sent me this album, but they did not. And I tried to buy it today. So if you go to their Facebook page or the record labels page, which is Jerk and Crocus Records, and hit buy now, U.S. customers, It says CD will ship on the 14th of January, 2022. If you click the Buy Now link, it pops up your email, and you have to send an email saying, hey, I would like to buy the album. So I have an email to them, and it's the guy from Jerk and Crocus. I forget his name, but I met him at the Dan Baird show in New York, upstate New York. Hopefully he will get back to me, but in the meantime, I have to play this from the Amazon Music. If anybody sent me this already, and they may have, if you did, please send it to me again. I'm going to buy it anyway because I want to support the band, and I know they need the money. Well, I don't know, but I'm sure it's an independent label, and it's working musicians, and I know they need the money. So I will gladly buy it from them if the guy from Jerk and Crocus gets back to me. I'm going to play the second song on the record. The record's called F.U. This song is called Blame It On Me from D Piratas. D Piratas. D Piratas. D Piratas. Getting off to a great start. There you go. Brand new. Well, it's not. I guess it's not brand new. It's been out since January. D Piratas. That song is great. And every song I've heard on this album, I mean, I can listen to the whole thing. Every song I've heard, I like a lot. I don't prefer to listen to my music on a streaming service. I prefer to listen to it I prefer to have the music in my possession, at least download it in my possession. So if you know where to purchase this, friends, send me an email, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, because I'm trying to get it. All right, why don't we thank some people who donated to the Rock and Roll Geek Show? It's been a while since I've thanked people by name, so let's do that tonight. Let's find something to play in the background. How about brand new Ted Nugent, Detroit Muscle? All right, let's start it off with the top. Take it from the top, Uncle Ted. The album cover has a Gibson Birdland with mufflers coming out of it. Like a hot rod muscles, and it says Detroit Muscle. Guitar always fucking great in Ted Nugent's records. Lyrics leave something a little bit to be desired, but his playing sure is great. And the attitude has never left. All right, there are several ways you can donate to the... this sounds good to me. Sounds a little like Tooth Fang and Claw vocal style, Theodosis Atrocious. All right, one of the ways you can donate to the Rock and Roll Geek Show is to go to patreon.com/RNRGeek. Like the following people did. Joe Pawlak, My Bodyguard, $16.66. Let's listen to the solo. Fucking guy rips! Come on! It's fucking great! I have not listened to this album in its entirety, but I like this song. His vocals sound like Tooth Fang and Claw. Wow, I'm pleasantly surprised. Good job, Uncle Ted. This one is, I'm not doing a track by track of new Ted Nugent. This song, Come and Take It, Stroke Me, Stroke Me. I'm gonna beat a ba. Get, come and stroke me. Stroke me, stroke me. All right, thank you to Dan Gerawan, $15. Tim Schall, $15. Kirk Crawford, $12.77. Music's good, though. Fred and Ginny Bunke, $10. Joseph Coyne, $10. Michael Street, friend of mine and friend of the show, $7.50. Steve Scouller, $6.65. Dave Slusher, Hall of Famer and my podcast mentor, $5.55. Brad Schultz, $5. Brad Shick, $5. Brian Springer, $5. Chiaki Hinohara, Metal Movement Podcast and Japanese Metalhead Show, $5. Dan McBride, $5. Stroke me, stroke me. I dare you, motherfuckers.
Come and take it. Good luck. Come and take it.
I want to hear the solo here. Hey, man, say what you want about Uncle Ted. He's got one of the best guitar tones in rock and possibly the most underrated guitar in rock. I've said it before. I will say it until I die. The guy is a fucking great guitar player. I don't care about his politics. Whatever you think about Ted Nugent as a human being, whatever. I don't need to keep saying this. The guy stands by his convictions. He's got attitude for more than any punk rocker out there. And he's a shredding guitar player. Ripping. Oh, where was I? Dan McBride, $5. Eric Klein, $5. Grant Farquhar, $5. James Shapiro, $5. How about Born in the Motor City? Dan McBride, $5. Eric Klein, $5. Grant Farquhar, $5. James Shapiro, $5. Wipeout. Jamie Jefford, $5. John Scott. John Scott, writer of the great Tom Petty book, Tom Petty and Me. Yes, he donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Thank you, John Scott. $5. Justin Lefkowitz, $5. Martin Clawley, $5. Metaldan, $5. Mike Brown, one of my oldest friends who I used to go to every concert with, and I think I went to that Tom Petty concert with Mike Brown. $5. Paul Smith, $5. Robert Harvey, $5. Steve T, Steve Trice, $5. Ted Wilbrecht, $5. Paul Smith, $5. Robert Harvey, oh, where am I here? Steve Trice, $5. Ted Wilbrecht, $5. Tony Field, $5. Mike Hellier, £4. Derek Coward, Comic Book Noise Podcast, $5. Derek Coward, $3. Mike Dixon, $3. Chad Burns, $2.50. Paul Rube, $2.25. Adrian Boschrock on the forums and the Rock and Roll, well, the forums don't exist anymore, but Boschrock on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, which I did not create, but I do approve people. You just got to answer 2 questions so that I know you are not one of those evil Supreme Court justices. Adrian Boschon, $2. Bruce McMillan, $2. Eric Stowell, $2. Matthew Hunt, $2. Patrick Shanahan, $2. Paul Underwood, maker of Underwood Fine Barbecue Sauce, $2. All right, American Campfire.
Everybody loves
This is kind of silly.
Don't you hear it calling your name?
Music's good though.
Everybody loves the American.
Also, Greg Smith, the bass player. That guy's underrated too. He's a fucking ripping bass player.
The American Campfire. Go ahead and fan.
Eric the Rock and Roll Plebe, 142. 3 Legs, 4 Wheels. Amy Bowen. Arnie Stash. Corey Kohler. John Richardson. Mark Mazzei. And Cole Thornton. All $1. Patreon.com/RNRGeek. If you go to rockandrollgeek.com and click the donate button, it will also take you to a PayPal link, like the following people did. Jonathan Travers saved the show this month. $100. Thank you, Jonathan Travers. I take a sip of this. First-time donor, Jonathan Travers. 100 begonias. I take a sip of this fine Modelo to you, friend. I'm going to finish it off.
Your name. Everybody loves the American Campfire. Go ahead and fan the flame.
Thank you for saving the show, Jonathan Travers. And Jonathan, you are welcome to co-host the show anytime. I would love to have you on. Most people think you can only take John Travers in small doses, but I'd like to hear him on an entire show. I'd like to get into his head and see what's going on in there. Kirk Crawford also saved the show, $50. Thank you, Kirk Crawford. Greg Brofer, $20. Still praying for Greg Brofer. I'm not going to say why, but I am. All right, how about Driving Blind? Okay, tribute to, clearly a tribute to ZZ Top. Jason Gherkin, $20. Richard Strom, $20.
There I was, minding my own business.
Douglas Free, $20. Richard Fusey, $10.99. Thank you, Richard Fusey.
I swear to God.
Jason Shepard, $10. BJ Lisco, $10. Jeff and Sherry Thielalookie, $10. What else we got here? How about winter, spring, summer, fall? There's always an instrumental on his albums. And I like the instrumentals, kind of Hibernation, Homebound. James Venner's $10. Todd Cunningham, friend of mine and friend of the show, $10. Blake Johnson, $10. James Paget, $10. Ralph Miller, friend of the show and friend of mine, $10. Dave Jackson in the School of Podcasting, $10. Dave Franco, $10. Nicholas Sandmo, $6.66. Greg Long, $5. Eric Lentz, $5. Rob Giglio, $5. Andrew Howe, $5. John Skiller, $5. Dale Roller, $5. Gerald Carroll, $5. Peter Spark, $5. Sean Offenloch, $5. Jennifer Wilbrecht, $5. Red Garsky, $5. Christopher Del Grande, who had a birthday this week, $5. Happy birthday, Chris Del Grande. Jace Lesniewski, $5. Benjamin Muller, $5. John Tennis, $5. Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name, $2. Cole Thornton, $2. Philip Vermeulen, $2. Cole Thornton, another $2. Lassie Satved-Hagen, $2. Stephen Mascord, $2. Brian Gradage, $2. Kai Matsuda, $2. Adam Brachet, $2. Vincent Creamy, $2. And William Moffat, $2. Thank you to everybody who donated to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Because without your donations, this show would die horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. I take a sip of this fine. Oh, I'm out of it. Let me open up another one. I open up this fine Modelo and take a sip to everybody who supported the show this month. Let's let winter, spring, summer, fall play out. There you go. I'm going to have to give this album a better listen because, I mean, with the exception of some of the lyrics silly, American Campfire and Come and Take It, music sounds pretty damn good. So I'm going to have to give it a better listen. Ted Nugent, Detroit Muscle. Also, another way you can support the show, if you don't have money to donate, you can call in to the show and leave me an audio comment like this person did. Let's see. How about let's do JB in Dallas. Looks like a long comment. Let's hear it.
Michael Butler.
Oh, hold on. Let me turn him up.
This is JB from Dallas, formerly JB from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
JS Skulls on the Facebook group. Don't ask. Long stories.
Yes.
For all those monikers for me. Hey, just wanted to call in. I haven't called in for a while with an audio comment and a show review.
Oh, good.
But I would be wrong to start this off without first asking you, Michael, how the hell are you doing?
I am super great. Couldn't be better.
It's great.
Hold on. Let me finish. Jeez. A little sad that the Butlers aren't playing, but I'm also happy that I get to do a Rock and Roll Geek show on a Saturday night and I don't have to get dressed.
Hey, just wanted to call in. I haven't called in for a while.
I rewound it too much.
And a show review. But I would be wrong to
Let's
start
take
this
this.
off
Let's take this over
without
again.
first asking you, Michael, how the hell are you doing?
I am super great. Could not be better. A little sad that I'm not playing with the Butlers tonight, but I am happy that I get to do a rock and roll geek show and don't have to get dressed. Okay.
It's great to hear.
Yes,
Good
yes,
to hear.
Yeah.
So I am doing this right now while driving
Oh, good.
from Austin, Texas to Dallas, Texas.
Wow. You went. Isn't that like a 3 or 4 hour drive?
And so hopefully this audio recording comes out okay. I am
Sounds
not
pretty good.
drinking and driving.
Good. Thank you.
So if you have yourself a nice gold Tecate or something
That's
else
a
with you,
Modelo.
I have just a Pepsi from world famous Round Rock Donuts.
Okay.
Round Rock,
All right.
Texas,
I
just
take it that's a fountain drink.
outside of Austin. Highly recommend it to anyone who's passing through. Some outstanding homemade donuts.
Yeah. Donuts and a Pepsi. What better combination is there?
Round Rock Donuts. So I'll take. You enjoy something much more fun than me, but I'll use this Pepsi. So cheers, Michael.
Cheers, friend. I'll take a sip of this fine Modelo.
Refreshing. I wish it was something much more fun to drink, but hey,
Yeah, you don't want to get
do what
pulled
you
over.
got to do.
You do not want to get pulled over on that drive between Austin and Dallas. I think I have been.
I also, while in Austin, Texas, I dropped a little envelope in the mail for Mr. Michael Butler.
Thank you, friend. Has not arrived yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
P.O. box in, what is it, Douglas City, California, wherever the
That's why I'm not up in the mountain house. I won't be up there for a couple of weeks, but thank you, JB. I really appreciate it, friend.
home is. And anyway, just a little contribution of appreciation. I don't donate as much as some of your other more loyal listeners. I apologize for that. But
Anything
I do,
helps,
Michael.
friend.
Cash only, baby. Stick it to the man.
That's right. No taxes.
Government has no business needing to know how
Exactly.
much money you're bringing
Keep
in.
the IRS out of my pants.
That's all cash, baby.
Thank you, friend.
Also, before we go any further, I'd like to want to give a shout out to a member of the Facebook group, the Rock and Roll Facebook group, Mike Cranston, I think it is. I want to give him a shout out because he did this. He's done this a couple of times before, and he just did it again, where he does these like 30-day song challenges. You probably saw it in there. And the most recent one was it was kind of the song challenge was influenced by the group ABBA. And
Yeah,
man,
I never participate in those because I don't know. I just don't because it's too much work. But I appreciate that Mike Cranston does that on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group.
I guess can't tell you how much I enjoy that. I don't know why. It's just small enjoyments, and as we all get older.
Just one more reason to sign up for the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group. You just got to answer 2 questions. And there's so much rock talk going on there and so much new music being posted by people. If you're a fan of rock and roll, I'm telling you, there's no better that I know of, no better rock and roll geek, no better rock music Facebook group than the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group. It's a good community. Everybody there is cool and nice. I haven't met one asshole on there yet. And everybody knows their shit about rock music. Back to you, JB in Dallas.
I really enjoyed that every morning, seeing what the new category was going to be and running through my vast musical catalog and seeing if I can pick out a song that would fit that particular category. And I know a lot of other people seem to enjoy that too. So cheers to Mike Cranston. Again, I don't have anything fun to drink, so go ahead and have another drink from Mike Cranston.
Thank you, Mike Cranston.
A member of the Facebook group. That is the Facebook group of which
here we go.
You did not create, but you do approve.
Yeah.
And just to make sure you keep out anybody who's trying to funnel us and
spread misinformation.
Bitcoin or something, or cryptocurrency or
one
something.
of those misinformation trying to spread those vaccine conspiracies.
Stuff like that, American hero. Michael.
What conspiracy is it this week? Is it Ukraine conspiracies, or is it crack pipes? I don't know. One of those conspiracies. We don't need that.
They're keeping us all safe. We really appreciate it. So the main reason for my phone call here was to give a show review. Hang on a second, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right, I'm getting a text from it's Michael.
Wife.
It's Eddie Trunk again. He's texting me again. Hang on.
Say hey to Eddie for me.
Yeah, I'm part of he's got me in a text group with
Nikki?
I think John Five and Tom Morello.
Oh, wow.
I think Ace Frehley's on that.
Wow, really?
I think like the Ghost of Elvis Presley. Maybe he's even on here.
Oh,
He's been sending texts all morning.
I wish I could be part
wants some
of
advice
that
on a
group.
hot water heater for his new place in Las
Really?
Vegas.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's what the text. Hey, I'm sorry, Michael. Do
Oh,
you
by
mind
the
if
way, wishing Eddie Trunk a speedy recovery. He's got COVID. He told everybody on the Twitter that he's got COVID. He's bragging. He's a fucking braggart. He got COVID.
reply to this? Let me. You know what? I'm driving. Should I pull over? I don't want a ticket like was it James Shapiro?
Yeah.
When he was trying to see the darkness, got the ticket, the $500 ticket for
that ain't
texting
cool.
while driving.
That is not good.
You know what? Screw it, Mike. We're gonna do it. We're gonna drive. Screw it.
Texting while driving. Do it.
Keep one hand on the
Don't
wheel
wreck.
here. Let me just reply to this text real quick. I apologize, Michael, for this.
Is it
interruption.
Nikki? Is it a group text with Nikki
Trunk
6?
here.
Or is it Ozzy? No, he's
All right,
not
hang
friends
on.
with
I got text
Ozzy.
with one hand here, so bear with me. Hey, Eddie. Sorry for the delay in my responses. I have been working my ass. Let me do that, all caps. Ass.
There you go.
Take care.
Oh,
Send.
I love
Okay,
it.
sorry about that. God, he's responding already. God.
Man.
Now they're talking
Boy, that
about
Eddie
rival
gets
sons.
Eddie
So
Trunk
I'm
gets
gonna
back to you quick, don't he?
put this on Do Not Disturb so I can finish this audio comment. Sorry about that, Michael. And
No problem.
sorry
No
to the friends
problem,
of the show
friend.
that you had to be part of that. Eddie Trunk just constantly sending texts.
Guy's just a nut job, isn't he?
Gets to be a little much.
Even from his COVID
Okay.
deathbed.
All right, on to my show review is for Jerry Cantrell. Jerry Cantrell,
From Alice in
most
Chains.
famously
Solo
known
show.
as the lead guitarist of Alice in Chains, has done several solo albums, and he has a new solo album out now called Brighton. Now,
You drove all the way to Austin from Dallas to see Jerry Cantrell?
Michael, I know you're not big on Alice in Chains. I'm guessing you're not big on Jerry Cantrell either.
Not really. I did see Alice in Chains when when I was in Exodus. My wife's brother was the stage manager at San Jose Civic Center, and he got us in, and we went backstage and saw Alice in Chains. I don't know who opened for him. It was Alice in Chains headlining, and it was kind of boring to me.
So I'm not going to spend too much time on the set list for this. You probably won't be singing along, but hey, feel free to.
I went to a listening party for the not the latest Alice in Chains, but the one before that. This was back when I was in L.A. playing with Ginger, and I was staying with this girl, Chelsea, who's a really, really sweet girl named Chelsea. She was friends of Jet Boy. She was like helping Jet Boy. Anyway, I was crashing on her couch, and she got an invite to the Alice in Chains listening party. It was at some movie theater. They made you check your cell phones at the door, and they invited all the press because she has this webzine called High Voltage, and so she took me with her, and we had to put our cell phones check our cell phones so we couldn't. I guess hit record or something, and I had to listen to it. And I gave a review on the Mevio website. I didn't like the album very much. But back to you, JB.
Jump in there on any of them you can. But for any other fans of the show or friends of the show who may be interested, I will give this show review. I will give some full disclosure here. I've always been a Alice in Chains fan.
A lot of people have.
I am a huge fan of his first two, Jerry Cantrell's first two solo albums.
Okay, all right.
The first one was called Boggy Depot, and the second one was called Degradation Trip, which there was actually two different versions of that. There was a 2-volume one and then just a single one. Anyway, I won't bore you with details on that, but hey, I let it be known, both those albums, but particularly the first one, those are desert island albums for me. And I know that may not be true for you
I have
or
not
a lot
listened.
of friends of the show, but I don't know
In
what
all
it
honesty, I've not heard Jerry Cantrell solo stuff, but I'll have to give it. I'll give it a listen.
is, but I absolutely love those first two solo albums by Jerry Cantrell. I like them actually much more than any of the Alice in Chains stuff, although I do like Alice in Chains stuff. And then when I heard he was doing another solo album, because he's reformed Alice in Chains even without Lane Staley, and I've seen them a couple of times, and they put on a great show still. But his, I was really looking forward to this when I heard that he was gonna do another album and a tour for this, because I've always
Listen to my dogs. Can you hear that? This is how my house is. 24 hours a day this goes on at my house. All right, back to you, JB from Dallas. I apologize for my dogs.
wanted to hear a lot of those solo songs live. Now, having said that, years and years and years and years ago, back when he did his first solo album, which I'd have to look that up. I think I'm going to guess maybe 1998, somewhere around there. I actually saw him in concert for that in Seattle at the Moore Theater, I believe it is, which is kind of a historic theater from that, especially that grunge scene. A lot of, I think, like one of the more famous Pearl Jam videos was filmed at that theater. So I just happened to be in Seattle for work at that time, and he was playing there, and I went and saw it, and it was great. But I remember it was almost all 100% Alice in Chains songs. He had a new album out, but anyway, I digress. So I was looking forward to hearing some of these songs live. So I was very excited to be able to see that he was coming through Dallas, where obviously JB from Dallas lives.
So wait a minute. You saw him in Dallas, but you're driving back to Dallas from Austin. Okay, so you didn't drive to Austin to see Jerry Cantrell. Okay, the plot thickens.
Grabbed a ticket, went by myself, did the old solo thing.
Which I like doing.
Didn't have anybody that I think probably would have been interested in going that with me, so I just decided to go on my own. It was at the House of Blues which is basically in the downtown Dallas area. I've been to a couple of shows there before. It's like probably similar to any other House of Blues any of you guys are familiar with, which is actually, it's a great venue because you get the bar in the back. I got myself a general admission standing ticket so I could kind of move my way around as needed. And I was very excited to attend this show. They had an opening act. Now, the opening act, I didn't know who it was until I got there, I don't think. The opening act was a guy named Philip Michael Scales.
Don't know him.
I think that's right. And I came in just as he started. I walked in just as he started, checked out the merch booth, and I'm one of these guys who I almost always get a T-shirt, and I just was not really fond of many of the T-shirts that Jerry Cantrell had in his merch booth. So I didn't get anything, but I do regret. He did have a really cool tour poster. I've noticed that a lot more bands are starting to get back into this now, where they issue a specific poster for each city of the show, which is kind of cool.
I did not know. That's a
little
good
different,
idea.
so it's unique to that particular show venue that you saw in that. And he had a really cool one for the Dallas show, and I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it because I didn't want to care. I didn't want to have to deal with it because you got to roll up poster, and how do you deal with that while you're trying to drink your beers and stuff?
Yeah,
and so
you buy it after the show.
Now I wish I had. So I
Buy
checked
it
his
on your way
website,
out the door.
It wasn't on there for sale. So hey, any friends of the show who might be able to get their hands on one of those, that would be awesome for the old JB in Dallas. And
there you go. The call is made, friends.
On the Facebook group, JS Skulls on the Facebook group. Don't ask. All right. Let's see. Okay. Opening act. Sorry. Philip Michael Scales. Walk in.
Yeah, by the way, if you call in another show and you Rock and Roll Geek catchphrases, don't ask. Feel free to add that one too. Super great, couldn't be better. Sip of this fine Tecate. Don't ask. I like that one.
Playing. He just started, and looked nothing like what I would expect from an opening act from a Jerry Cantrell show. He's kind of like a buff looking black guy,
Huh.
fairly young, I would say. I would say in his 30s.
Black
maybe.
weightlifter, huh?
I mean, he looks like he could be like I don't know, just a normal looking dude. In no way you would see this guy on public like, oh, this guy's some sort of rock musician or something. I don't even know if I consider him rock musician because the music was, I don't know, it's hard to describe. But here's the main thing to know about him. He was totally by himself.
Uh-huh.
No band with him, nothing. And it wasn't like he was playing an acoustic guitar. He had an electric guitar. And he had, Mike, you're a musician, I'm not. What do you call those things where it's like, I guess it's like a loop thing, where he can like start a drum track and then it'll play, and then it's, he's like, it's like a foot pedal thing on the, float on the stage where he's tapping with his feet, and it'll play some backup vocals. And
so he's got backing tracks.
I don't know, it's like something you would see like somebody in a subway doing. I guess, I don't know, because he had no band. It was just him, and the songs he played were completely unremarkable. Nothing memorable about him. I hate saying it because he came off as a really nice guy. He seemed very humble and very appreciative of being on this tour. He made a comment about how he's basically following the tour bus in his 4-door sedan, he said, with his guitar and this equipment that he uses for his backing, instrumentation. And it's just, like I said, nice guy. I don't even know if I'd call it rock. It was kind of blues. I don't know. The only thing that I can remember about his set list was he did a cover of A Day in the Life by the Beatles. And
I heard the
halfway
news
through
today.
he changed it to what he called like the Chuck Berry sexy version of Day in the Life. Whatever. However, the original version or the version he was switched to, neither one of them was very memorable. Again, he got a nice round of applause, but I think it's just because he came off as such a likable guy. He did, no attitude whatsoever, very thankful, very humble. I don't know, maybe somebody, maybe friends of the group know this guy, and maybe he's got something that I just didn't see. But anyway, while he was playing, Michael, I was kind of like scanning the crowd, right? And just kind of maybe see if there's anything I could report to our dear friend Michael Butler about the crowd, and looking for hot chicks or something I could report on. And the thing that struck me about this crowd, Michael, was a lot of people wearing like Alice in Chains shirts or other rock bands from that era.
Now,
right? Not necessarily.
Ratio of men to women, I'm going to guess 70% dudes, 30% women, or I'm going to say 60% dudes, 40% women.
Grunge bands, but other bands from that were big in the 90s. I saw some Guns N' Roses shirts and stuff like that. And I guess it was just a reality hit for me. Michael, so that era would have been like when I was in college. This
era.
Crowd looked fucking old.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. We're all getting older, but like,
maybe the grunge people aged quicker.
Used to seeing an older crowd when you go see like the Rolling Stones or Fleetwood Mac or something. But I guess in your mind, you still think you're young, right? And just to look around this room and seeing these old, bald, fat guys wearing an Alice in Chains t-shirt.
So it was
really
mostly dudes.
Threw me for a loop. I don't know. I guess whatever. As long as we're above ground, right? It's all better for all of us.
Yeah, it's better than being dead.
Okay. I'll run through the set list, Michael. I'll do it quick for your benefit.
Okay.
But if fans of the show want to take note of a couple of these things, a couple of things I will mention about it. It was about 50%. A little bit more than 50% of the set list was Alice in Chains songs, and the rest were his solo songs. I'm sure that was good for the general crowd. That was not good for me. I would have rather been 100% his solo songs. I've seen Alice in Chains.
Then all those bald people with Alice in Chains shirts would have been complaining.
Times the reformed version he has now, and they were great, and I liked all those songs. But I've seen those before, so I was kind of more interested in some of his solo work. He came out the opening song is a new one. It's called Atone. It's from his new album. Pretty good song. Then he went into Them Bones, which is Alice in Chains song. Great song. The third song was from his second solo album called Psychotic Break. Now, there are tons of great songs on that second album that I would have rather heard live than that one. I don't know. I'm not sure why they picked that one, because if any of you fans out there, or friends of the Facebook group, or friends of the show, are familiar with that solo album, that song's kind of a weird one for a live setting. It's not really a catchy song, but I mean, it's heavy. But then they played Sea of Sorrow, which is a great Alice in Chains song.
I know none of these tunes.
Album. Let me take a break in the set list here, Michael, and tell you. Let me kind of give you a description of his band. I thought
great.
You might appreciate this stuff. So he had a keyboard player, which was he was at the far stage. Is that stage right? If I'm facing stage, to my right, is that stage right? Or is that stage? I don't know.
I think that's stage left.
I barely noticed the keyboard player. He had a drummer that seemed competent. Again, I'm not a musician, but nothing blew me away about his drummer. He had a second guitarist who, again, seemed competent. I don't know. Maybe people know who these people are. I can't even.
In other words, his band was boring. I get it.
He had a guy who played like pedal steel. When he introduced him as, on the pedal steel. But I was watching that guy most of the show. He was kind of like a utility player. Only a couple times.
Lucero has a pedal steel player, and that guy's great. I think is that a pedal steel player? Maybe he's a keyboard guy.
See him playing pedal steel. Most of the time, he picked up an acoustic guitar, and he was providing some backing acoustic guitars. And then, so Jerry Cantrell himself, obviously lead guitar player, but he also does he sings vocals. But for a lot of the Alice in Chains songs, he would sing part of the vocals, but the lead vocalist was obviously the deceased, deceased Lane Staley.
Jerry Cantrell would kind of double the lead vocals.
He had another vocalist. And this vocalist was just a guy on stage, not really like in a lead singer role, not in a backup singer role, but kind of just off to Jerry's
just doubling Jerry's voice,
not playing
like
any
Jerry
guitar or
did
anything.
Lane Staney's voice.
He was there just to sing vocals and take the lead vocals when needed and accompany Jerry when needed. And man, I had a problem with this guy. I don't know why. I'm sure he's a decent guy. His voice was fine, but he just did not fit. And what I mean by that is he had like short hair, was like slicked back. He was wearing like a leather jacket.
Poser.
And he, honestly, Michael, he kind of looked like Pee Wee Herman to me.
Oh.
He looked like if you were to put Pee Wee Herman into Linkin Park or something. And just his stage presence was just kind of, I don't know.
Boring.
It seemed like a guy that would have been on like American Idol or some singing show.
Yeah,
and they
a
brought him on stage
douchebag.
to sing along Jerry Cantrell. It felt really weird to me.
A bore.
I would rather just to hear Jerry sing. And
by the way, this is why I'm not a Jerry Cantrell or Alice in Chains fan.
Cares if he can't hit all the notes for the Alice in Chains songs.
There's something called rock and roll and putting on a show.
Having that guy up there was a little weird. And then particularly, I want to address with you, Michael, the bass player for this band.
Oh, good.
Now, when they were doing the sound check.
Let me guess. He wore it super high.
Or not sound check, but, when they're between sets from the opening act and Cantrell, and they come in and they're just, setting up all the instruments. The roadie was hitting the bass notes, and it just sounded great. The bass sounded good. The way the mix was good. I was like, man, that's a great sounding bass. This bass player, Michael, was the most boring bass player I've ever seen in my fucking life. It was pissing me off. I was pissed off on behalf of you, Michael.
Thank you.
Because I was having those thoughts thinking, man, Michael Butler would be killing this right now. I know that's not really your music, but if you had that gig.
By the way, when I was in Exodus was getting dropped, and we were about to break up. I did contact Alice in Chains because they were looking for a bass player, and I got a call back. The callback was to let me know that they got a bass player, but I tried.
Jumping all over the stage, and this guy just stood like a fucking tree. And everyone else in the band was moving about. And,
yeah, a lot of bass players do that. They just stand there, and I don't get it either. I can't stand there. Even when I'm playing bass with the AC/DC tribute band with Zetro and Will Carroll from Death Angel and and the greatest Angus Young impersonator, Dave Chapman, and Joel from Butlers and Featherwich. I'm because I play Cliff Williams, and I'm supposed to stand in one spot like Cliff does. I have trouble doing it, man. Even though I'm standing in the one spot, I'm bouncing around. My feet are stomping the floor. My head's banging. I can't stand still. I just can't.
It was just, I don't know. He played fine, I guess, but
I'm sure he's probably
Christ.
a great bass player.
Come on. You're in a fucking rock band. You're playing the House of Blues.
Put on a show, man.
Act like you're having some fucking fun, man.
Entertain the crowd.
Anyway.
Between this dickhead, I don't even know he's a dickhead. I'm sure he's a great guy. But between him and Pee Wee Herman.
I'll finish this off quickly, Michael. Sorry. Brighton was the next song. That's the title track from his new album.
Brighton.
Cut You In was the next song. That's from his first solo album. That was the closest thing I think he's had to a hit as a solo artist.
I don't know it.
There was a video that was played on MTV a lot for that song. Good song. Next one was one of my favorites from that album. It's called My Song, followed by Siren Song from the new album. Then we got No Excuses, Alice in Chains song, famous one.
I never heard
Next
it.
one was Black Waves Give to Blue. That's an Alice in Chains song, but that's from
the album that I went to see the listening party. Black Gives Way to Blue.
Version of Alice in Chains with their new lead singer. Then the next song, probably one of my all-time favorite Jerry Cantrell solo songs. It's a song called Between. Great song. Then Check My Brain, Alice in Chains song.
Don't know that one.
Newer version of Alice in Chains. Then It Ain't Like That.
Don't know that one.
Alice in Chains song also. That got really heavy. Then we started kind of getting into the hits, and the hits being Alice in Chains hits. And from this point on,
to stop the rooster. That one.
These are all great
That's
songs.
all I know. That's it. And yeah. Those are the only two I know. And it came to stop, or is that the same song?
They played them great live. Jerry Cantrell is an awesome guitar player. But again, we got the last 5 songs are all Alice in Chains songs. I would have much rather heard some more Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah, to end on a high note.
Down in a Hole, which is one of my favorite Alice in Chains
that one.
songs.
I know that one.
Got Me Wrong. Then they did the encore break, and they came back and played Wood.
Don't know
Man
that
in the
one.
Box.
I know that
their
one.
biggest song.
Yeah.
And then the final song, Rooster, which most fans, I would say, know that song is about Jerry Cantrell's dad, a Vietnam War vet. He did mention that some of his family was there, but his dad could not make it to the show. And the reason I point that out is because I think he has, I don't know if Jerry's originally from Oklahoma or Oklahoma City area. But he does have family there. I know. I think he used to have a ranch up there, so it's a short drive from Oklahoma City to Dallas. So,
Alice in Chains made enough for him to buy a ranch. Wow, good for him.
So, I hope that set list was fairly painless for you, Michael.
Not too bad.
I'm going to wrap it up here. Need to check those text messages, see if there's anything else I need to respond to.
Probably do.
See if
because there's probably lots of good discussions going on about their favorite Kiss album, Kiss era, makeup or post makeup or pre makeup.
Not sure Michael Anthony have joined the conversation yet.
Oh, Michael Anthony's in there too, huh?
Hey, take care.
Is Sammy Hager?
Again, appreciate all the fun activities on the Facebook group, and as always, Michael, stay frosty.
Stay frosty, friend. You too can show your support to the Rock and Roll Geek Show by leaving an audio comment. JB from Dallas. 22 minutes and 30 seconds of pure fun. All right, why don't we play a song and we'll come back and do some more things. How about brand new Michael Monroe? This is called Can't Stop Falling Apart. Album is going to be called I Live Too Fast to Die Young. Comes out on June 10th, Silver Lining Music. This song is called Can't Stop Falling Apart from Michael Monroe.
You might
There you go. Brand new Michael Monroe, Can't Stop Falling Apart. I like that. All right, kill it! Okay. All right, I got another audio comment. And this is the last audio comment. Then we'll, oh, no, let's do this first. It's a little news story. Let's see. Where is it? The Spinal Tap. Where is that article? Let me see. I'll get to the Spinal Tap. Let's do the audio comment first.
Hey, Michael. Erik, the rock and roll plebe here.
Hey, Erik.
How are you?
I'm super great. Couldn't be better.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I just wanted to do a review of Testament, Exodus, and
Bay
Death
Strikes
Angel,
Back tour.
the Bay Area Strikes Back tour. And it was at the TLA, Theater of Living Arts in Philadelphia on Tuesday, March 3rd. It was a sold-out show.
Sold out. I heard the attendance has been great for this tour.
And I think that venue holds about 1,000 people, so that was
That's
pretty
good.
cool.
That's good.
And it was a show that was actually rescheduled twice. I think once for COVID and then once for some other mysterious reason. And I think I bought my ticket back in 2019, so it's been a long time waiting for this show, so I was excited to go. The show started around 6:50, which I was happy about for being a Tuesday.
Now, was it Death Angel opening, or was there like a local opener?
So I got there around 6:40. I had enough time just to check out the merch and just wander up front. The merch, just to mention, all the bands had kind of a pretty decent selection. They had 3, 4, 5 different T-shirts to select from and other items.
Yeah, Craig from the Butlers, I believe, did the shirts for that entire tour.
Around $38 a T-shirt. The one of the interesting things I noticed was, I guess, Chuck Billy from Testament sells some sort of vape pipe or
That's right.
something.
Yeah, he's got a
that
vape
he
pipe
endorses or
Yeah.
branded by him. I thought that was kind of a new kind of item, I guess, for a band. So getting right into the show, they started right on time. Like I said, Death Angel came out first.
Okay. No local opener.
Won't go through the track listing because I know thrash isn't really your wheelhouse, and even for me, I don't know the names of half the songs that I like from those type of bands anyway. So they were awesome. Death Angel, the lead singer was really engaging. The lead guitar player shreds.
Yeah, Rob, the guitar player, is a great guitar player and a great guy. And of course, Will, I play in a band with in the AC/DC band. I also played in a band with Will in Mind Zone. Will Carroll was the drummer for Mind Zone for a while with Billy Rowe, and that was the metal version of Jet Boy. It was kind of like when Jet Boy decided to go Pantera. Mickey Finn was the singer, and Billy Rowe's the guitar player, and I was the bass player. And we had another guy on guitar as well, who used to be the bass player. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I forget where I was going with this, but yeah, Rob, a great guitar player, who sits in with the Butlers occasionally. So does the singer, Mark, who I will not say anything about.
I give a blanket statement that all three bands were great. The guitar playing was excellent. The lead guy was great. They actually all three followed a similar kind of set method, I guess, where there would be a backing track playing some ambient music.
Oh, you mean to come out to open? Yeah.
They played 2 or 3 songs.
Intro song.
The frontman would
2 or 3 songs, and the front man starts talking.
Encourage the crowd to mosh or crowd surf.
Let's get in the pit!
And luckily, I was kind of a little bit. I was near the front, but I was a little bit to
Come
the left.
on,
so I didn't have to deal
motherfuckers,
too
let's
much with that 'cause
pit!
I'm just kind of too old.
Get
for
a
that
circle
fight.
going!
And I don't know. It seemed forced to a degree.
Yeah, I
watching
agree.
people
I
crowd
totally
surf after
agree.
the frontman tells them,
I
"Hey,
agree.
go crowd surf." But it was kind of cool. Like the crowd, actually, the show I want to mention. I thought it was going to be a bunch of people 45 years old and up, but ended up being kind of like almost 50-50, like under 45 and over 45.
good.
So
That's
I think
good to
there's
hear.
this movement, like there were 20-year-olds, college-age kids that maybe are into thrash music
Mostly
these days.
dudes,
I'm not
right?
sure. And like some of them were fathers bringing their sons, their teenage kids. So I thought that was kind of cool that, there was a younger mix, and that, for those younger kids, I'm like, they can experience that moshing and crowd surfing. So I thought it was cool for them. So after Death Angel, it was kind of a pretty quick turnover. And then Exodus came right out.
With Zetro on lead vocals.
Some things, what do I remember about Exodus? So the one thing I remember, if you kind of squinted at the bass player, he kind of looked
like me.
Kind of looked a little bit like you, Michael.
Yes.
Not trying to.
Jack Gibson, good bass player, but yes. When they were getting ready to go on tour, I said to Zetro, if Jack stubs his toe, give me a call. I'm there. And he said, you will be the first guy we call if Jack stubs his toe. But so far, Jack hasn't stubbed his toe. So, yeah.
I don't know. Unfortunately, though, they didn't play any songs from the album you're on, though.
Nope.
But
they sure don't.
I don't
Never
know,
will.
which I kind of was mad about because it may sound stupid, but that's the album. I guess I'm not a true fan, maybe, I don't know, or deep cut.
That's
like
the album that's different than all the other albums. Nobody ever yells out Force of Habit tunes. I wish you would have. It would have been fun to hear. But, yeah, they don't love that album very much. That's the album that got them dropped from Capitol. So,
I like the best is the album you were on. I'm not trying to kiss ass, but that is.
Thanks, Brett. I didn't write it, so it doesn't
a little more
matter.
stripped down about that album that I like.
It was more. It was more Exodus trying to be mainstream, I guess you could say. That was around the time of the Black Album, and Megadeth had Countdown to Extinction. So these bands were on the charts, topping the charts. So Exodus was. Capitol Records told Exodus, "Hey, we need to get a hit album." So Gary Holt attempted to write more commercial sounding songs, and I thought he did a good job at it. I think that album's quite underappreciated.
What else? The drummer from Exodus was
Tom
wearing a
Hunting.
76ers jersey. And at one point during the show, in between songs, he stood up on the drums.
Tom Hunting, one of the originators of the thrash drums.
And made some sort of announcement. Zetro, the singer, he did a thing where he made the crowd part in the middle, split the middle of the crowd, and then encourage everyone to run at each other.
Yeah. The Rob Dukes used to do that too. The guy who replaced Zetro. I saw Escape the Fate do that. Lots of bands do it. I think it's a little bit cliche in my opinion, but okay, everybody seemed to like it.
Mosh. What else? And then they played a bit of that Pantera song "Walk" at one point before they went into what I would consider their hit, the Toxic Waltz.
Right.
Song
Everybody's doing the Toxic Waltz.
So Exodus were good. They impressed me somewhat since I think going into it,
Gary Holt, ripping guitar player and brutal on stage, and Zetro, whether if you don't like his singing, at least he's confident and he's a good front man.
Probably my third most favorite of the three bands that we're playing.
Exodus was your third most favorite?
I was glad to see them because originally, I think when I bought the tickets in 2019, I don't think Exodus or Death Angel were even on the bill. There was some other band, Black Dahlia Murderers or something.
One of those guys died.
And I don't even know if the tour was labeled as The Bass Strikes Back at that time. So it was really cool to see Exodus. And then lastly, Testament. They took a bit longer to set up than the other two bands.
They had a bigger
being
set.
The headliners. They had some. They played the song, the Jim Croce song, "Bad Bad," Leroy Brown.
Oh, is that the
that
intro
one,
tape?
One, right? Bad Leroy Brown.
Bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town, badder than a junkyard, badder than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. You know the song.
They played that as their opening music.
I like that.
The soundtrack music before they came on. So they had a longer set they probably got like an hour and a half, where the other two bands were closer,
with
45 minutes or an hour.
With the great Dave Lombardo on drums.
They were awesome. But what else do I remember about them? The rhythm guitar player, his name's Erik something. Erik Peterson. I'm concerned about his health. He looks like he's about 400 pounds. But
oh, really? Okay, all right.
The singer's big too, but he looks more like a badass biker kind of dude. Whereas
the drummer for Death Angel, big boy too.
The guitar player, I don't know, man. It doesn't look. I don't know. But Alex Skolnick, the other guitar player, he looks cool and he shreds. And so the drummer was, I guess, the guy from Slayer,
Dave Lombardo. Yes.
And here's a hot take on this. Like, I thought out of the three drummers of the night, I thought he might have been the worst one.
Well, you know why? He didn't know the songs that well. They hardly rehearsed. I heard through I heard inside sources. They only did a couple of rehearsals, and early on in the tour, they had to stop the song a couple of times because Dave Lombardo didn't know the tunes. So he is a great drummer, but I think it's just because he didn't really know the songs that well.
Not that he was really, really bad, but I don't know, like the drummer of Death Angel was probably the best of the three. He just was solid, even though he gave me the finger when he saw I was wearing a Rock and Roll Geek t-shirt.
Really?
I don't know why, but
are you kidding me?
But the Dave Lombardo, he was good, but it just, I don't know, some of the fills and stuff were a little
Wait
jerky.
a minute. Are you fucking with me, man?
It's just his style of playing, or I don't know. Maybe he's having an off night, or maybe I just don't have ears for drumming, but I enjoyed their set, and he was good, but it wasn't like he was horrible, but I don't know. If I had to rank the three drummers, he'd probably be third of the night. So that was one more thing with Testament. There was one point, I can't remember if it was Testament or Exodus, where the guy was playing like a fretless bass, I think, at one point.
Huh. Couldn't have been Jack Gibson.
And it was 5-string. I didn't like it, whatever he was playing.
Yeah.
It might have been Exodus, so I don't know.
I'm not a fan of 5-string basses. You know how I feel
Testament
about
on
that.
The bus, because I think he's considered a pretty good bass player. But I think the Testament guy did play a weird bass solo before going into one of their songs. So I'm just to close it out. I'm going to put a little bit of that bass solo. If you tell me if this is really good, or it's just really just crap, or if something in between.
Right. Is this a bit? Are we in for a bit, Erik?
So I'll put that at the end of this, and that's it. After that, I got out of there pretty early. It was around 10:45. Got home early, so it was a good show. Enjoyed the bass area striking back, and that's it for now. Thanks, Michael. Stay frosty.
Stay frosty,
and turn up the bass.
I heard those guys are having a great time.
Or don't. Just skip this part.
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Oh, before I play it, I forgot to say that Erik sent me an email. He said, edibles. He goes, edibles are obtainable in my area. So unfortunately, I think I'm rambling more than usual. Feel free to skip. So he was on edibles when he did this audio comment. All right, back to you, Erik. Erik Peterson? No, Erik the Rock and Roll Plebe. Slapping, popping. Is he slapping and popping? Let me rewind it.
10:45, got home early. So it was a good show. Enjoyed the bass area striking back. And that's it for now.
Okay, thanks
Erik.
Michael.
Stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
And turn up the bass.
Let's hear the slapping and popping.
Or don't. Just skip this part. I don't know.
No, I want to hear the slapping and popping. Dude, that's horrible. Yeah, this has got to be a bit. That can't be Testament's bass solo. That is so fucking bad. Wow. That is Wow, that's fucking...
Hey, Michael.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's horrible. That is absolutely fucking horrible. All right. Thank you, Erik, Rock and Roll Plebe. I really appreciate it, friend. Okay. So on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, Joe Pawlak, my bodyguard, posted this. Iconic mockumentary, Spinal Tap is getting a sequel. According to Deadline, the iconic mockumentary This is Spinal Tap is getting a sequel. Rob Reiner returning to direct. Let me reposition myself in the chair. By the way, Spinal Tap in my top 5 movies of all time. I have seen that movie probably about 300 times, and if it ever comes on television, I watch it. It is great. Now on this is on Blabbermouth, and on Blabbermouth there's an ad that says Lewd Burning Man Pics. It's an ad, and I am so tempted to click it because I want to see naked chicks at Burning Man, but I'm not going to click it. According to Deadline, the iconic mockumentary This is Spinal Tap, Rob is getting a sequel. Rob Reiner will return to direct, and original stars and writers Christopher Guest, who is Nigel Tufnell, Michael McKean, who is David St. Hubbins, and Harry Shearer will reprise, I don't know, but will bring their roles back as Nigel Tufnell, David St. Hubbins, and Derek Smalls. The news of Spinal Tap's sequel comes after the Cannes Film Festival announced the original film will screen on the beach as part of the Cinema de la Plage sidebar on Wednesday, May 18th. Reiner, who will also be back in front of the camera as documentarian Marty DeBurgi. Oh, I'm burping this fine Modelo. Nadi, take a sip. As Rob Reiner told Deadline that the plan is to release the new Spinal Tap movie on March 19, 2024. That's a long time to wait. In time for the 40th anniversary of the film, some of those guys might be dead by then. For so many years, we said, nah, it wasn't until we came up with the right idea how to do this. You don't want to just do it to do it. You want to honor the first one and push it a little further with the story. Why are they waiting 2 more years? They must not even have started filming yet. I got a feeling this thing may not come out. As for the new movie's premise, Reiner said, they've played Albert Hall, played Wembley Stadium all over the country and in Europe. They haven't spent any time together recently. The idea was that Ian Faith, who was their manager, he passed away. In reality, Tony Hedra passed away. Ian's widow, Tony Hedra was the actor who played Ian Faith. Great character, by the way. Ian's widow inherited a contract that said Spinal Tap owed them one more concert. By the way, I saw Spinal Tap play at the Warfield in San Francisco, and they were great. It was so much fun. I believe the Folksmen might have opened up the show, which was Spinal Tap as a folk band. That was really fun. Anyway, let's see. She was basically going to sue them if they didn't play one more show. All these years and a lot of bad blood we'll get into, and they're thrown back together and forced to deal with each other and play this concert. Regarding his role in the upcoming film, Reiner said, I'm back playing Marty DeBurgi. The band was upset with the first film. They thought I did a hatchet job, and this is a chance to redeem myself. I'm such a big fan, and I felt bad they didn't like what they saw in the first film. When I heard they might get back together, I was a visiting adjunct teacher's helper at the Ed Wood School of Cinematic Arts. I dropped everything to document this final concert. This is Spinal Tap has become a cult classic since its first theatrical run 38 years ago, blah, 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 blah. All right. Anything else about this? No. Great movie. And everybody on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group seems to think that it's going to suck. Let's read some of the comments here. Let's see. Tim Schall, I sure hope they do it right. A lot of potential for a really good sequel, okay? Tad, if they can pull it off, it could be good, but I don't know. Most sequels don't live up to the original, especially after such a long time. Joe Pawlak, you mean Black Police Academy 2? Sandy Hyde, Super Troopers is a good example of waiting too long and not living up to expectations. Tad, Bill and Ted's, the first 2 were good, but they just shouldn't have made that new one. Well, how about Dumb and Dumber well, there was a Dumb and Dumber sequel, which was just completely horrible. But then Jim Carrey and the other guy, Jeff, whatever his name is, came back, and that sequel was not great either. It was okay, not great. Erik Anderson, Bad News on Tour is better, and Magnus Stenson, Blues Brothers 2, warning. Yeah, Blues Brothers 2 was horrible. Here's some good examples of sequels that are good, though. Evil Dead 2, which is not really a sequel to Evil Dead, it was kind of a remake. One of the greatest movies ever made. It's up there with Spinal Tap for me. If that comes on, I will watch it again. But the sequel to Evil Dead 2, which was Army of Darkness, was also a great movie. I don't know if you remember The Stepfather, the horror movie Stepfather. Well, Stepfather 2, just as good as Stepfather 1, in my opinion. So there are good sequels. I don't want to wait till 2024 to see a Spinal Tap sequel. I will definitely watch it, because if you have the DVD to Spinal Tap, you probably already know this if you have it. But there's like bonus stuff. Like after the movie's over, there's like a whole nother movie that's just bonus content, and it's all in sequence. And it's like a completely new Spinal Tap movie, and it's great. You hear there's a subplot of Derek Smalls going through a divorce, all kinds of good stuff that's not part of this plot of the original. I see why they cut it out, but the outtakes make for its own little movie, and it's great. So if you can watch that, if you can find the DVD, look at the bonus content on This Is Spinal Tap, because it's worth watching. Not as good as the final cut, but is well worth watching, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I still have that DVD somewhere. I think I might be looking up there on my shelf up there. Yeah, look for that. That's really good. All right, another thing from the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, which I did not create, but I do approve. People, where are we? We're an hour and 19 minutes. All right, let's see here. Shinbone. Oh, dog wants to come in. Hold on. Come on in. Come on, Mila. Shinbone Star. I don't think I've ever heard the whole album, just a couple of tracks. Does anyone here own the album? An article on bravewords.com. Neurotic Outsiders, expanded edition of long out-of-print debut album from Guns N' Roses, Sex Pistols, Duran Duran members, available, let's see, in June. Let me close the door here. I have heard the whole album, Shinbone Star. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. That album is fucking great. I thought I did a track by track, a classic albums revisited this album, but I went and looked for it on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, or not Facebook, on the rockandrollgeek.com, the website, and I did not see a classic albums revisited of Neurotic Outsiders. So maybe we'll do that in a second here. Let me read you the article. Let me finish. Another sip of this fine Modelo. If you do not know about this album, it is such a good album. Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses. Now we got more dogs coming through here. Steve Jones, who wrote most of this album. John Taylor from Duran Duran on bass. Duff McKagan on guitar. Matt Sorum on drums. And Steve Jones on guitar and vocals. He wrote most of this album with the exception of, I think, John Taylor wrote one song that's on a solo album called Good News. No, not Good News. Feelings Are Good. John Taylor co-wrote a song with Steve Jones, and I think they did a Clash tune on that. I think so. Yeah, Janie Jones. This album, I haven't listened to it in a while, but it's so fucking good. Well, it's coming out an expanded version in June. I have the expanded version because a friend of mine sent it to me a long time ago, who was supposed to put it out on his label. I don't know if this is his label or not. He asked me not to play he sent it to me about 2 years ago, and he asked me not to play any of the bonus tracks until they came out. Let me close this one. So I don't know if that's his label or not. I'm going to read you the article on brave words here. When former Sex Pistols member Steve Jones joined a pickup band for a benefit concert for a cancer-stricken friend at LA's notorious Viper Room back in the mid-90s, he probably had no clue that the lineup he'd choose would result in a full-blown record deal with Madonna's Maverick Records for $1 million. Yeah, they were a cover band, played Viper Room. They had like a residency they did like every Sunday at Viper Room or something like that. And they had guest musicians would come up and play like Billy Idol played, and I think Chrissy Hind, some other people as well. So I think Slash might have gotten up with them. I never saw Neurotic Outsiders, but the album is so fucking good. What started out as a random mishmash of musician friends, John Taylor, Duff McKagan, Matt Sorum, and a Monday night residency at the infamous club, turned into Neurotic Outsiders. Together, they all took that power they possessed and channeled it into a self-titled debut, which was originally released in 1996. Long out of print, Neurotic Outsiders is being re-released as an expanded edition containing all the tracks from the album, plus their rare Japanese-only EP. It will be released on June 3rd via Boston-based Super Megabot Records. That could be my friend Jeff Rugby's record label. He put out the singer for Czar, Jeff Whalen's album. Is that Super Megabot Records? It might be. I don't know why it took so long for it to come out. I mean, like I said, he sent me that like 2 years ago. We were all in these high-profile, high-maintenance bands with very little actual playing. In other words, these high-maintenance bands weren't doing any gigs. With Neurotic Outsiders, things felt completely loose, laughs John Taylor of the ragtag nature of the band. Originally starting out as a cover band that hosted a wide array of surprise guests, including Simon Le Bon, Billy Idol, Izzy Stradlin, Chrissy Hine, Ian Astbury, Sporty Spice, Mel C, Iggy Pop, Brian Seltzer. By the way, I love Mel C from Sporty Spice. I had the hots for her. She did a song with Brian Adams, which is a great tune. Brian Setzer and Slash, the band's own internal chemistry between its four members was so apparent that soon Neurotic Outsiders was born. As more and more of Jones's post-Sex Pistols originals started making their way into their sets, the band began embracing the new material, comprised of no-frills, guitar-drenched, cracking rock and roll tunes. Most of the originals were unheard material left over from Jones's Sex Pistols professionals days. He gave me the tape of his songs, and it became one of my favorite tapes, recalls Duff McKagan. It sounded like 1979 English punk rock with an American feel. It was rocking, it was heavy. Jonesy wrote the coolest pop tunes. Pulling in Talking Heads Jerry Harrison to harness his power, the self-titled debut was chock full of songs that reveled in the rock and roll excesses which New York Times characterizes pure Hollywood, honesty, and honestly and comfortably vulgar, and details what called crude punk rock. All right, I'm not going to read any more of that. It's because it goes a long time. Let's do a quick track by track of Neurotic Outsiders. I'm telling you, this album is fucking great. Let me see if I can find it. Neurotic Outsiders. All right, first song, Nasty Ho, which was sung and written by Steve Jones. Great tune. Here's a little bit of Nasty Ho. Nasty Ho. These songs are all catchy.
You saved my soul. You made me.
There is a video for this song. You look for it on YouTube, Nasty Ho. Great video, too.
Feel so good. Dick is like a stiff-hard piece of wood.
Dick is like a stiff hard piece of wood.
This was free. Don't lay guilt on me. This is larceny. You gotta let it go. Let it go. Oh, let it flow. Let it flow. I told you so.
song about Steve Jones's sex life. Well-known Hollywood pervert, by the way. Isn't that Sex Pistols TV show coming out soon? Or is it already out? It's that Johnny Rotten is saying sucks. Has anybody seen that?
Pussy, baby.
And it has a breakdown, which every great song needs. I was at NAMM one time, and John Taylor was doing like a signing or something, and I just walked up to him and said, "Hey, John Taylor, I just want to let you know that Neurotic Outsiders album was fucking great," and he's like, could not believe anybody heard it.
Come on now.
He said, "Oh, thanks, man."
Push a little harder, baby. Push it right in that hole. Feels good now.
Nasty Ho! That's a great tune. Next song is Always Wrong, which is a John Taylor tune. He's doing, who's doing lead vocals? I think John Taylor. Yeah, John Taylor doing lead vocals. Bass player for Duran Duran. Everybody in this band in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, including Matt Sorum. Did Matt Sorum get put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Guns N' Roses? He might have. Always Wrong. John Taylor, good songwriter too. Always Wrong. These songs are on the clouds. I gotta wait for them to come in. Yeah, good riff. Who thought that guy from Duran Duran will write good rock songs? I say all these guys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Duran Duran will be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They haven't been inducted just yet.
The light is soft. You want to talk. Talk about you. Inside I scream.
Same riff over and over again, but I like it. And John Taylor's singing is great. This is a great punk rock. I don't even know if it's punk rock. It's just got the punk rock spirit, but it's a great rock and roll album with a punk rock spirit.
You're the kind of thing I can do without. You're the kind of thing that I can do without. You're the kind of thing I can do without. You're the kind of thing I can do
All right, next song, that's a good tune. Angelina, which is written by Steve Jones, and he's doing lead vocals, and this song is catchy as hell. I gotta wait for everything. I'm just gonna go ahead and download for the whole album, so I don't have to wait for the songs to load from the cloud. Super catchy tune. The music on all of Steve Jones' song on this album, I guess they did say it was leftover stuff from Sex Pistols. The riffs are all very Sex Pistols style riffs. This record was supposed to, they got, like it said, the article said a $1 million record deal. As soon as the record came out, everybody's bands started getting active again, so they had to kill Neurotic Outsiders, so the record tanked. Matador Records lost their ass. This record should have been huge. So catchy. Steve Jones. The guy can write tunes. Next song, Good News, also written by Steve Jones, lead vocals by Duff McKagan. This song is probably my favorite song on the album. Yes, American Heartbreak ripped this riff off. Man, that's good. If you don't like this, I don't know, friends. Duff McKagan singing great, full of tons of attitude. Song's catchy as hell. Lyrics are great. Sides and All, great tune. All right, kill it. Next song, probably my least favorite on the album, Better Way, which is written by Steve Jones and John Taylor. It's the ballad of the album. Let's see, Better Way.
Set up a mission, unfurl the flag.
Lead vocals by Steve Jones and John Taylor. Duet.
Take my head out of the bag. Make me a baby. Take me a wife. With these things, maybe I'll be alright. There's a better way.
Even the worst song in the album is catchy.
When I need it, and I need it for sure every day. Fill up the museum, an island in the sun. More things that I don't need, just to pick me up. Waterfall, and don't drown in the juice. Make the right noises, maybe I'll be alright. How come it's so hard to climb and so easy to slide? How come it's so easy to fly and so hard to thrive? There's a better way. There must be a better way.
All right, that's a ballad. Catchy tune. For as ballads go, I'm not I guess I'm a ballad fan, but when veterans do it like that, I think it's still good rock and roll. Next song, Feelings Are Good. John Taylor, which is on his solo album, I'm pretty sure, and another one of my favorite songs on this album. What a riff. I feel. So not Duran Duran sounding. Nothing against Duran Duran. I'm not a big fan of Duran Duran, but they did have some good songs. But this sounds nothing like Duran Duran. Do I have that John Taylor solo album? I don't think I do. Actually, I'm on the Wikipedia. John Taylor has 6 solo albums. First one was Feelings Are Good and Other Lies, which is this is on.
I'm so full of shame. I'm full of shame and it's not mine. I will take the blame. These feelings are good. Feelings are good. Feelings are good. Feelings are good. This feeling thing is something new. This feeling thing has got me not knowing what to do with the feeling. I got fear. This fear right here.
All right. I wish I could just play all these, just let this album play. It's so fucking good. If you don't have it, friends, we can't find it on. You can't find it. Well, you might find it on somewhere, but send me an email, friends, and we'll discuss. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Next song, Revolution. Lead vocals by Duff McKagan, written by Steve Jones. This song is great, too. That's Revolution, a great tune. I said that Nasty Ho was a music video. Actually, it's Jerk is a music video. Written by Steve Jones. Steve Jones on lead guitar or on lead vocals. And this song is great. Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers sound. Great tune. That's Jerk. I'm going to try to power through this thing because we're at almost 2 hours. Every song just about is quality tune. Next song is Union, written by Steve Jones, vocals by Steve Jones. I think this is about Sydney, or about the Sex Pistols. Oh yeah, I remember. This is a good tune. I haven't heard this one in a long time. This album still stands up. They don't make them like this anymore. They don't.
Tell me, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the sickest Sex Pistol of them all? Is it Johnny Rotten? I don't know. I'd really like to ask him, but he drives me up the wall. Yeah, take out Sidney Vicious.
Sidney Vicious.
He's a clown. He turned his mother in for less than half a crown. But I wish I had a union. I wish I had a union. Now take my mate old Cookie, he's off his head. Just give him his Daily Mirror and a pint of what is red. Now here comes Stevie Jonesy, he's a slag. He loves to get his knob sucked, wrapped in a Union Jack. But I wish I had a union. I wish I had a union. I wish I had a union.
All right, there's Union. Every song. Janie Jones Clash tune, sung by, I think Duff, right? Steve Jones and Duff. All right, we've all heard that song. Story of My Life, written by Steve Jones, lead vocal Steve Jones. Another ballad. I love this tune. Every song, good. Again, friends, if you don't have this album, you need to, when it comes out, buy it, friends, because it's worth it.
I entered a race that I can't stop. They told me if I moved that I'd go far. But
I wish
think
I
I'll
could get
stay
Steve Jones to
in
come on
my
the show and talk
shadow.
about this album, or any of the guys in the band.
That's the story of my life. Yeah. Another day goes drifting by away.
I read Matt Sorum's autobiography, which was a great book, by the way. I don't remember. There must have been something about Neurotic Outsiders in it. I don't remember.
Story of my life. I just barely stay afloat. I'm too scared to rock the boat.
Last song is 6 Feet Under, written by Steve Jones and Duff McKagan. Lead vocal. I think Duff sings lead vocals on this. This is probably my least favorite. I don't think Duff is a great songwriter. I'm sorry I have to say that. But I don't think he is. But good singer, fantastic bass player. Yeah, his punk rock songs are a little generic. That's a Duff riff, I guarantee you. There you go. On the bonus tracks, the expanded version has let's see, Planet Earth, a Duran Duran song, and 3 other tunes, which are not as good as any of the songs of this album, but still worth getting just for the original tracks. The bonus tracks are not the selling point of the expanded version. The selling point is just the fact you can buy this album again. There you go, Neurotic Outsiders, self-titled, 1 album, and it is a great album. All right, kill it. All right, I think I'm ready to wrap this thing up. We're at almost 2 hours. Let's close out with another song, with one more song. How about a brand new Cruel Intentions? I have the whole album. Thank you, Chiaki, for not sending me that because that would have just been wrong. Before I play this Cruel Intentions tune, thank you for listening, friends. Hopefully I'll see you next week at the Butler's gig in Santa Clara at a place called Club Fox. Hopefully the person in the Butlers who has COVID will be better and we will be able to play the show. I'm praying. I got really upset when this gig got canceled, and I took it out on the guys in the band, and I probably shouldn't have. I was kind of a dick about it, and you know how I feel about the COVID, friends, and I don't want to get into the mad at dad discussions, but yeah, it bummed me out. I really wanted to play the show because the show would have been really fun tonight. But like I said, it gave me a chance to play music with my friends on the Rock and Roll Geek Show. So thank you for listening. If you listen, friends, I can't promise you that every show will be good. All I can promise you is that I will be honest and the shows will be from my heart. And from my heart, I thank you for listening, friends. This show is a value for value, so if you get any value out of this, please contribute any way you can, because without your donations and contributions one way or another, this show will die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. Find the show at rockandrollgeek.com. Find me on the Facebook R&R Geek. Find me on the Twitter R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram Rock and Roll Geek. Don't ask. Anything else? Thank you for all the positive feedback about of the Richie Stotts interview. It was really nice talking to him. Super nice guy. And thank you for the contributions to the questions, and thank you for the positive feedback. And thank you to Richie Stotts for doing it, and Adam for lining it up, and Richie Stotts' girlfriend for lining it up as well. Anything else? I think that's about it. Hopefully I'll see you next week at Club Fox. I'm not headed back to the mountains anytime soon. Maybe next weekend right after the Club Fox. I don't know, but I got so much work to do. I'm supposed to start a job on Monday, and I am hoping that it gets canceled because I don't want to work anymore. I'm just tired of it. I need a break. Even though I've been off for like 3 weeks now. I went to Hawaii, and had a great time seeing the granddaughter, as you might have heard from the mini episode I did, and I played Sven's new song. Sven's going to come on and do new Torpedo Head track by track maybe in a week or so. So hopefully that'll happen soon. Thank you for listening, friends. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com is where you can email me. I'm not told you everything else. One more time, rockandrollgeek.com, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, Facebook group, Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, R&R Geek on the Facebook, Twitter R&R Geek, Instagram Rock and Roll Geek Don't Ask. That's enough ways to reach me. Thank you for listening, friends. I'm going to play new Cruel Intentions. This album is called Venomous Anonymous. I was looking forward to this album. It's really 80s Sunset Strip sound production and just nods and riffs and guitar tones. I'm not crazy about the guitar tones of this album. I'm a little bit disappointed on the guitar tones, but the songs are pretty catchy. I'm going to play one that's in Swedish, I think. It's called Salt I det Sar, which I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right, but I like the tune. Here's Cruel Intentions. Thank you for listening, friends. I'll talk to you soon. Remember, rock and roll is about defiance, not compliance. Please keep sticking it to the man, and I will talk to you soon, friends. All right. Take it away, Cruel Intentions.
Alla nätter utan morgondagar. En mörker vålnad I en värld som rasat. Ett liv.
I forgot to tell you, it's in another language.
Skit att säg. Luften tung, försöker ta ett andetag. Ingenting kvar, allting snurrar, tappar tid och rum. Blir aldrig den du ville ha. Jag kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Som jag är sån och kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Så har det varit hela livet. Maskinen I ett ångar utan tårar. Har inte tid att hålla det som lovat. Besvikelse inget nytt för dig. Luften tung, försöker ta ett andetag. Ingenting kvar, allting snurrar, tappar tid och rum. Blir aldrig den du ville ha. Jag kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Som jag är sån och kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Så har det varit hela livet. Ett liv som säkert kommer skita sig. Samtidigt svår. Som jag är sån och kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Så har det varit, jag kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Jag kommer alltid vara samtidigt svår. Så har det varit hela livet.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.